The Podski with Johnny Bake Show. For over 2 years, the revolutionary force in audio entertainment.
Oh, yeah!
Brother,
Let me talk to you! Freak out, freak out!
I just had an out-of-body experience!
Insane in the membrane!
Brother!
Yeah! And I'm here for only one reason, and that's to take it to the limit, yeah!
Somebody stop the damn man!
I'm living on the edge.
Who is your daddy?
Hello and welcome to the Podski. I'm your host, Johnny Bake Show, and ringside with me is Teddy Mongoose. We are keeping this SummerSlam train rolling as we are reviewing SummerSlam 1999 this week. Let us know in the comments if you remember this show, and be sure to like and subscribe to the channel. It's the best way to support the show. Before we bring Teddy in here today, we got to give a huge shout out to Nick on Facebook. He hit us up over the weekend, requested a few shows, so we're going to be doing one of his requests here really soon. We're going to keep the SummerSlam train rolling a little bit further as we're going to do SummerSlam 1990. The Scott Hall show is coming soon. We have to push that back logistically just because everything is kind of going on right now, but the Scott Hall show is coming, and so be sure to like and subscribe to the channel because when you subscribe, you get rewards. We're on the road to the Macho Man Randy Savage show. So, Teddy, we got a really fun show here today, and the last time we were here in 99, we were at Fully Loaded, where Steve Austin retained the WWF title. What is our fallout from Fully Loaded as we work our way to SummerSlam 99?
So if you recall, Fully Loaded 99 had what John and I believe was the best brawl of 1999 in its main event. Ooh. That match was a blast, dude. It was so much fun. It was the first blood match where Stone Cold beat The Undertaker to retain the title, and as a result, Vince McMahon is off TV. Also on that show, Triple H beats The Rock in a strap match. The Road Dogg and XPac won the rights to the DX name. And the never-ending time loop continued with Ken Shamrock and Steve Blackman facing each other, this time in a car circle fight. And then we have Al Snow and the Big Bossman for the hardcore title for the first or second or third of 7, 8, or 9,000 different times.
You can't forget about that Big Show and Kane match either.
All-time classic, sir. In the vein of Kenzo Suzuki and Billy Gunn, some even would say. The fallout of that, we had Chris Jericho debuting in a segment against The Rock in a promo battle. We have China winning the #1 contendership for the main event in SummerSlam. And all of that happened right after. Saying that, though, for this show in particular, SummerSlam 99, I must apologize, dear listeners, but Baby Mongoose is going back to school. Met a teacher tonight, took a picture with a couple of different gimmicks in her hand, did a scavenger hunt, did all sorts of things, spent the evening doing an About Me survey and all those things. So we had that, the shoot job, put on a steel-toe boot, gave me the Austin double birds, kicked me where it counts, and then stunned me so hard that I Scott Hall sold it into orbit, brother. I'm prone. And I am literally circling the earth right now. But you know what? I love me some Podski. And I'm here for the people, and I'm here for you, John. So we're going to basically fast forward straight to the main event. Saying that, I kick it over to you, brother.
The good news here is that we have the first SmackDown show coming up next week. So while we're going to go warp speed past 2 episodes of Raw, we're going to catch you up on any nuggets that we've missed here next week. So next week, we're going to have a lot more stuff here to cover. Now, Teddy, after what may have been our first official talk radio style tease for next week's show, how about we get right into what we're covering here today?
Yeah, I like how we did that there. Like, hey, tune in next week. You know what I'm saying? Batman style or whatever. That's good. So WWF SummerSlam 1999 took place Sunday, August 22nd from the Target Center in Minneapolis, Minnesota. The show sold out within 90 minutes of tickets being put on sale, drew 17,370 fans. They did announce 19,404 because why not, right? And it had 15,973 of them paying $557,129 for the gate. The show also did $168,000 in merchandise sales.
Dave said the show was generally expected to be first or second most buys for a pay-per-view in wrestling history. And the all-time record was approximately 800,000 for WrestleMania 15. And the crazy thing is, this show, according to WrestleNomics, did 565,000 buys domestically and 600,000 worldwide. So while it's a big number, almost doubling Fully Loaded, it wasn't the record breaker people thought it could have been.
And they're white hot here. And with Austin and Foley in the main event and Jesse Ventura giving the mainstream media, you could see why that was projected. And what's really interesting here is that the projections overshot the target. And that literally doesn't happen in WWE in 99, 2000, 2001. Like, it always is, oh, I think they might, and then it's to the moon. And this seems to be one. This isn't an L by any means, man. Big gate, sold out crowd, lots of coverage. But it is interesting that they thought that this was going to be the moonshot, and it wasn't.
I can see how they would think that, though, with bringing in Ventura and, you know, the big main event. And like, I can see how they would project high. But
right,
you're right to what you're saying. They don't miss projections. They only get projections right. They like that's crazy.
Or just simply exceed them, right? And this is why they're going to go public, which second tease of the show today. Mm-hmm. John and I will be talking to you about next week whenever business starts booming and they try to go into the public realm. But the interesting thing here is this show did make news coverage everywhere, and it was huge in Minnesota. It did 3 times the amount of buys that a show in that market typically does. And also, the general consensus from wrestling fans, they enjoyed the show. We'll get to that in a little bit. But from people that bought it, like basically out of curiosity or to see what might happen with their governor on television, Dave Meltzer wrote the feelings range from, quote, being shocked to aghast, end quote, at what they saw. The governor's language was a big topic here. And brother, I was not ready to see how many times they had to bleep out Jesse in the ring.
Yes, he was letting it fly out there. I can't wait to hear about what he says during that match tonight, though. The most newsworthy thing from this night, aside from Jesse, is that pay-per-view Sunday Night Heat is dead.
Here, far, wherever you are. We won't get copyrighted if I sing it, right?
No.
Okay, good.
The WWF has finally decided to use Heat as a promotional tool for the pay-per-view and not to wear the crowds out before the show even starts. But before we get there, Goose, how did this show grade out?
Interesting how that works with that pre-show thing, because, I mean, now we do pre-shows, and sometimes we have matches and sometimes we don't. But I'll tell you what, before we get into this, you could tell that that was a molten lava crowd to start this show. And that was not the case in other shows. So it made a difference here.
I totally agree. This crowd was on fire. They were in for everything. We'll talk about this crowd here soon.
All right. So Wrestling Observer newsletter readers rated this show 87.4% thumbs up. So as Dave said, wrestling fans dug it. I did. You did. And the crazy thing is, I hated all of it until I loved the show.
I know. It's the same old thing with these shows in the Attitude Era. They got a great start, they have a dog shit middle, but then they end so well.
Yeah. Every time we watch one of these, I say over and over to myself, 1999 sucks.
Yeah.
Like it sucks. And it does. And then it's so great. Like it is incredible, man. So 87.4% thumbs up, 9.4% thumbs down, and 3.1% thumbs in the middle. So overwhelmingly a thumbs up show. Best match with a bullet, baby. And it makes me feel so validated from what I was texting you while I was watching this. Shane McMahon versus Test was it. It had 92 votes out of the 120-ish people that responded to this. So nearly a consensus match of the night. And getting even more votes for worst match was Ivory versus Tori.
Can concur on that one.
Yeah, there you go, man. So that's what we got, brother. Why don't you take us into the leadoff here?
Yeah, so kicking us off in the show, we have Jesse laying down the rules to Triple H in China, and the crowd popped right away. This was a really good way to get the crowd into it early.
He hammered the pin will happen in the ring, and the best wrestler will win over and 1,000 times, dude. Every time he said the best wrestler will win, I was like, oh, goosebumps, man. Tell me, Jesse. I don't want the worst wrestler to win. I want the best wrestler.
Right. He hammered that all night long. Every time we see him, he's saying the best wrestler is going to win this match in the middle of the ring.
And here's what was great, dude, is that it had a payoff.
It did.
It did. And that was what made it even better.
Right.
I did not remember the main. I remembered the winner, but I didn't remember, how we got there.
Mm-hmm.
And seeing what happened, it made so much sense, man. This was wonderful, wonderful writing as far as tying this to the main event payoff.
Yes, and Bruce, if you're listening out there, we're giving you your props because we're sure you had a part in it.
He at least produced a segment.
He did. But we're graced with brand new superstar Chris Jericho with Howard Finkel, and I can't tell you how in I am on this. Jericho and the Fink together are incredible, and whenever Jericho called the Fink Herald, I exploded. This was great.
Yeah, dude, I love this. I thought it was great. It gives me Ralphus vibes, and that Jericho has the geeky second, except instead of it being some portly fellow in a cut-off shirt, it's the greatest announcer of all time.
Right, and which makes it work.
Right, and why not be the Fink? Especially after the Fink went full nerd, crying, telling Vince, I'm sorry, I love you, and Vince said, "Get the hell out of here!" Like, this is excellent follow-up.
Yes, we talked about that in the Fully Loaded show. Whenever the Fink runs up crying to Vince is just so good. So good. Check that one out in the archives. But our first match of the night is Jeff Jarrett versus D'Lo for the European IC double title. And of course, the crowd lit up for Deborah here. But how amazing is this when Jeff sent Deborah to the back, but then D'Lo brought her right back out? That was perfect.
Yeah, and I wrote here first, I'm going to hear this Jarrett song in my nightmares.
You ain't going to hear My World.
No, dude, My World is exponentially better than like every time that I hear that guitar chord hit, brother, I get the heebie-jeebie weebies. So there was that. Also, the King whistling at puppies while in the middle of his own political campaign was really something, wasn't it? Like, hey, elect me for mayor, and here I am. I'm whistling at breasts.
Yeah.
Over and over again. I wish I can't do it on demand because my mouth's too dry because I'm too hot talking about King right now. But dude, him just, and it is pretty incredible that he could just spout off at the mouth like that and whistle that well. Good for him, because I just failed terribly. And also, I think that this is the first time I ever heard Deborah's voice. When they came out and she talked,
yeah,
it was strange.
It is. Her voice
it just was strange.
It doesn't match her at all.
Yeah, it's something else, man.
So getting into the match here, Jarrett, he just plays this asshole role. He just plays it so good. And I know that, Teddy, you're not a big Jarrett guy, but he just looks like an ass. And the problem is that he's a shoot great guy, apparently. Like, that's, I just couldn't, he just plays the asshole so perfectly.
Jeff Jarrett, to me, was TV wrestling cancer for a long time. Like, I wanted to cut it out. We would only be better if we removed it. Yeah. That was how I felt. And I will tell you this, and I honestly mean this, that seeing this AEW run is really, really made me gain a lot of respect for him, because the shape that he keeps himself in, whether he's like TRT'd up or not, who even cares?
Yeah.
To look like that and to work like that whenever you're his age is hat tip to you, man, because it ain't easy. And the other thing is that as he sticks around in this business longer, there are more endearing stories about him that come out that aren't, hey, this guy was Jerry's kid and he got rocket shipped to the IC title and he stuck around and was in this program. And then he went to WCW and somehow found himself a world champion, started his own promotion, blah, blah, blah. Like, you're right. There's a lot of good, and I can find a lot of ways to appreciate Jeff Jarrett now that I would not have said in 2020 or even 2022. But dude, I hear bow, 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 and I look like that Oscar the Grouch non-flashback meme. Do you know what I'm saying? I'm staring off into the distance, and there's just chaos going on behind my eyes, man.
But one thing about this match is I was genuinely surprised at how hot the crowd was for D'Lo. Like, they were super behind D'Lo here.
They were. And we did hop, skip, and jump over the Raws, but to go from him just being drive-by attacked, tree hit,
yeah,
you know what I mean? Treed by an angry drive-by guy, to then getting this much of a reaction, testament to him, man. That was really cool.
Jarrett caught D'Lo in the middle rope for what it was a really cool backdrop counter. D'Lo goes for the swanton, but Jarrett moves. He has the guitar and he's yelling at Deborah, who's on the apron with the ref holding him back. We get a huge pop here, and it's Mark Henry. And he takes the guitar, looks like he's going to hit Jarrett, but he hits D'Lo, his own friend, his own partner that they've been training with for weeks on the Raws, hits him over the head with the guitar. So Jarrett gets the win here. It was a total ruse, and I thought this was a great way to start the SummerSlam. I was totally in after this match.
Yeah, credit where it's due. The whole angle at the beginning, get the crowd behind, and then following through with old Mizart coming out there at the end to set up Jarrett's win. This was really well done. It was. This was excellent pro wrestling storytelling, and I give them a lot of credit for that. The only thing that I didn't like was there were exploded guitar parts all over the ring, wood shrapnel everywhere, and the referee turns around and counts the pin like Jeff Jarrett hit him with a DDT.
That is actually so true.
Yeah, that was the only gripe that I had with it. So Dave said a noticeably slimmed down Mark Henry, and then these are his words, well, as slimmed down as Mark Henry could be in a few weeks, ran in and took the guitar from Jarrett, but instead turned on Brown, clocked him with it. Jarrett scored the pin, 2.25 stars.
So we get Cole backstage with Edge and Christian ahead of this tag team turmoil match.
I can't put into words how terrible Edge's one sentence that he spoke in this promo was.
Couldn't be any worse. It's crazy to see this guy in 1999 and to think about what he came in 2005.
Yeah, it was like a wooden man spoke words. like you know what I'm saying? Like it was just very, it was wooden. Wooden is the only way that I could put it. That it was just so, I don't even remember what the words were. They were short and they were terrible. And you're right, man. It's crazy to see where he came, because you give him a microphone now, he'd talk for 20 minutes.
Right. It is crazy. But this match, this tag team turmoil match, we have so many thoughts about this. We talked about this match more than we talked about any single match on this entire show. It's the gift that keeps on giving. And we start this match and the crowd is super into it, but they kill the crowd at warp speed here. So we start off this match with Edge and Christian and the Hardys.
The New Brood very well may be the source material for True Blood. Have you seen True Blood? Are you familiar with True Blood?
I haven't seen it, but I'm familiar.
Okay, so for those that aren't familiar, True Blood is this story about these like New Orleans or whatever, Louisiana vampires that are out there. And there is a club where, just regular non-vamps go out there and hang out with vamps. And to me, I have Gangrel chilling here with some fang bangers, basically, with Jeff and Matt, just being his little minions.
Yeah.
You're doing what the cool vampire says to do. And they're going out shirts.
Yes.
That's just it, dude, is that they literally have club gear on and they're listening to a vampire. So I believe that this is where the Sookie Stackhouse saga was written. Even if the timeline doesn't match up, I still think that it was written in the stars that these things are aligned.
We get some really great spots here early. Whenever Matt and Christian Irish whip Jeff and Edge up onto the barricades, they run around the top of the barricades and then Edge spears Jeff. What a spot. Like, I don't think I've ever seen a spot like that before.
Dude, I had to get off the wrestling for a second because Lawler popped me to death whenever he kept burying Doc, that the Hardys were so much better without Doc. And Jim Ross was like, "Oh, you mean P.S. Hayes?" And he's like, "Ah." So I thought that was awesome that Michael Hayes is probably back there just stroking his hair, combing his mustache, all brushing off his velvet shirt, furious at what's going on in commentary.
Lawler was on one on this show. Like, I don't know what got into Lawler. I don't know what he did before the show, but he was on it this entire show. It only gets worse for Lawler.
In the middle of a mayoral campaign.
That is true.
Wearing a button that says "Vote for Jerry" or whatever on it.
But Jeff hits a swanton, a springboard backflip, and it's not enough as the Hardys are eliminated. And then we are graced with Big Vis and Midian as our next team in this tag team turmoil match.
I wrote right here, for the love of God, this gauntlet. And the bad thing is, dude, the first match was pretty good. And once I saw these two, my first words, for the love of God, I just typed it into my phone, couldn't even stop myself.
No, you couldn't even help because you texted me immediately.
Yes.
So we get Big Vis here, though. He hits a rolling heel kick. How's he doing that? I popped huge for that.
That's vintage Mabel, man. That's Men on a Mission. Back in the day when he was wearing the gold and the purple, he'd hit that. And when he was a babyface, they'd do the whoop, there it is. Whoop, there it is. That's how the man got himself a title shot against Diesel, bro.
Man, I popped huge for that.
Yeah, that was pulled out of the archives for him. Good on him too.
Yeah.
It doesn't look just as good whenever it looks like he's wearing a trash bag though.
That is
the outfit that he had on.
Remember when I bought that Big Vis for you?
Yes.
I wish I
still had that Big Vis. I don't have it anymore. Spoiler alert. I had to do a big purge a couple of years ago. I should have kept that one though.
Should have kept that one, snuck it away. But Edge and Christian throw Vis to the outside, and Edge hits the spear on Midian, and Edge and Christian move on. Then we're graced with Draws and Prince as our next tag team in this match.
Siri, find me Draws' shirt. That was what I wrote down. Like, what is this? Fishnet and metallic.
I don't understand what the getup is. It's a bad.
This is the guy that would have been killed by the vampires in True Blood.
Yes, absolutely.
He'd have been hanging around outside saying, "Hey, fang bangers," and then they would have literally cut his head off or whatever.
Yes. When they came out, I knew this was only going to get worse for us though, because Albert, I couldn't. The last time we saw these two, they were just clapping their hands and cheering on Ken Shamrock and Steve Blackman at that car while Mabel was just hanging on that Buick over there. But Albert had Edge in the military press. Christian took out Albert's knee. Edge fell on top of Albert.
Dude, King Barry and JR in the middle of this for saying where Draws played football absolutely had to be fed straight from Vince. That was what I could get over. I couldn't even focus on the match.
No.
Because A, it was Draws and Albert. And B, because King dug at him
Yeah.
And JR got mad.
Yes.
Like,
JR got pissed.
you know what I mean? Like, he was showing it. And I'm like, brother, that was fed right to Jerry, and JR knows it. And he's like, he is projecting his Vince hate onto Jerry. And then you could almost tell Jerry being like, hey, it's all right. You know, what do you know about these guys?
Yeah.
And JR ain't having it, brother.
Oh, JR's already sent it over the edge.
That's because he says, well, what kind of homework do you do, King?
Yeah.
Puppies? You look up.
But Edge, he hits the flatliner for the pin, and just when you thought we were safe, the Acolytes hit the ring, and they were on a mission to kill.
Here I wrote, this tag match is like walking through a haunted house. Like every turn is spookier and spookier.
And as you all can imagine, the Acolytes just come in, they wallop Edge and Christian, but this is when the train falls off the tracks because Big Shot Bob and Crash Holly enter before they were supposed to, and this thing turns into a shit fest.
Yeah, this is the Final Four is my worst nightmare. And even worse, they screwed up getting to the ring in the first place. So the match that I first didn't want to see got screwed up and then was replaced by a match I wanted to see even less.
I know. Edge and Christian, they get eliminated. So we're down to the Acolytes and the Hollies here. Like Mongoose said, I don't understand what we did to deserve this. But of course, Bob doesn't want his partner Crash making the pin. They argue back and forth, and Bob Holly big boots Crash to hell, and the Acolytes start murdering them and winning this gauntlet. I couldn't understand what stages of hell we were in. I don't know if we were in the seventh hell or not, but we were somewhere down there.
This was absolute. I was completely. I was out. I thought that, dude, I don't even like, not that I don't want to finish this show, but I was just ready to be like, this is the worst pay-per-view I've ever seen. And the bad thing is, it took the beginning match of the New Brood and Edge and Christian, which was fine.
Right.
And then it ended just like, what am I even watching right now, man?
Yeah.
So
the crowd was so up at the beginning when Edge and Christian and the Hardys were in there. They were dead silent whenever they had that Final Four in there. Dead silent.
Because, John, if I punched you once in the gut, you go. If I punch you a second time, you go, oh. If I punch you a third, you go. You wouldn't be able to make a noise anymore.
Yeah.
And that was what happened. They got gut punched 3 straight times after the first match. That was it. I mean, you know, it's basic physiology is what it comes down to. So as bad as this was for me, Dave said, quote, the next thing was a succession of tag team matches where the winners would continue until the teams were eliminated. And that team would get a title shot at Raw the next night. Some of it was good, but the booking made the finish look totally anticlimactic. He gave the New Brood versus Edge and Christian 3.25 star. Christian and Edge versus Vis and Midian, a 0.5 star. Edge and Christian versus Draws and Albert, 2 stars. Holy cow.
Yeah.
The APA versus Edge and Christian, 1.75 stars. And then for the Hollies versus APA, he said, quote, this didn't seem to serve any purpose since nobody thought the Hollies had a chance and they never got to show any serious offense. The story would have been better had Edge and Christian gone through everyone and lost in the finals to a fresh team. 1/4 star.
Thank you. That's what I would have wanted out of this match. Whenever Edge and Christian, I thought Edge and Christian was going to roll through until the end, and I figured they would lose. But
right.
When they lost before the final team came out, and that final team was the fucking Hollies, I was pissed.
Right. Well, they had to eat a clothesline from hell. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's just it. Is that you got to pay your dues, brother.
Yeah. See you in 5 more years, brother.
We will. On top. On damn top.
On top. So we cut backstage, and Big Show and Undertaker are walking through the back, and what a fit by the Undertaker here.
I'm glad you had that, dude, because I put open vest, chain wallet, chef's kiss
Oh, baby. They brought me back. Just that quickly, they brought me back.
Oh, they'll lose you again.
And then we get Pepper. How about it? We got Pepper showing up one more time. Then we get Road Dogg, who comes out in street clothes. What another fit here by the dog. But Teddy, what Jordans is he rocking here?
So I saw these and I immediately thought that they were 16s without the cover on them.
Yeah.
If you remember, 16s were the dress shoes with the cover.
Yep.
That was what I thought. But then I realized, wait, we're in 1999. So they haven't come out yet.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I would need to do some back research here. My first thought is that they're Team Jordans. They're one of the Team Jordan models. And dude, in 1999, Team Jordans balled out.
Yeah.
Actual leather, air and Zoom Air, like they were legit. And so I'm thinking the dog had on something related to that, but I don't know. That is a question that I thought that I had the answer to until I realized what year we were in. And so now it's a mystery. Tell us in the comments if you like sneakers.
Yes. The fit here by the dog is a white t-shirt, white shorts with a fanny, and these Team Jordans, and it was a sick fit. It was just weird to see him not in the Road Dogg attire here. So Jericho's music hits, and we get Jericho on his first WWE pay-per-view. He just debuted this past Monday. We covered that last week on the show. Go check that out in the archives. And I have to say that the rerun of the entrance was too long. Why did we do that again? I understand, like, we want to make Jericho feel like a big attraction, but I don't think we needed to run through the entire, like, boom, 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 and the light show. We didn't need to do that. I don't know why they did that again.
I think they did it strictly because it was the pay-per-view audience and they knew they'd get a reaction. I'm assuming that was it anyway.
But Jericho did not disappoint here. When he said spell lugubrious, I joined you in orbit. I was up there spinning up there with you because this was perfect. This was a great little promo segment before the show completely went off the rails, but I loved this.
The irony of him calling it SummerSlam after I just watched the Hollies versus APA was something else, man. Like, what timing. And the one thing from this promo when him and Road Dogg were going back and forth is the Road Dogg said basically, I don't own a computer, so I don't know or I don't care about Y2K or Y2J. And I absolutely believe the Road Dogg did not own a computer in 1999. There's no way that he owned a computer, dude.
No way.
He had a house phone and a beeper. Page me if you need me.
Page you with the 316.
Yep, page me if you need me, brother.
So Road Dogg goes to the commentary booth, and we get our next match, which is Al Snow versus the Bossman 7, it feels like at this point.
This match is the same thing over and over and over again because they go straight to the outside.
Yes.
How about you just hit each other with trash cans or something? Why go straight to the outside?
Yes, we can't. First, we couldn't escape Al Snow and Hardcore Holly in the same match. Now we can't escape Al Snow and Bossman in the same match. This hardcore title is wearing my ass out here in 99.
Agreed.
Before we even get started in the match, though, Al Snow climbed one of those JLG lifts, and he's just waiting for the Bossman to come out. And as soon as Bossman walks out, he hops off of it and attacks him. Like what Mongoose said, they immediately brawled to the back, and Bossman tosses Pepper in the dog crate. I could not believe that they did that. Would never be able to get away with that today.
No. And you just move on. I don't even have anything to add. You're right. It's something else, brother. Especially whenever you are literally being scrutinized by people up, down, left, and right. Jesse's PR team had to be watching this thinking, don't throw the crate. They threw the crate.
So they continue to fight to the outside again, just like they did at Fully Loaded. They fight into a bar, and there is a guy that is on his phone trying to call his friends as it's happening. What a guy. That guy had to be living his best life at that moment.
Mm-hmm.
So they fight the whole way into the bathroom. Road Dogg was following them on commentary, which he was giving great insight. They're in a bar, JR. Like, I don't know. This match turned into a shitstorm really quick.
I noted that it was hilarious that we could imply that Road Dogg has on his best outfit because he knew they were going to a bar. So there might be chicks there to pick up.
Yeah.
That's why he looked so pristine. It's why he didn't have on those like yoga joggers or whatever they are, and his DO double G shirt. He had on the white Tommy Hilfiger. He had on some white shorts. He had the fanny in there that probably had all sorts of illegal things, and he was ready to rock. But that fella, when they were entering the restaurant and that fella got in the way of the camera, he got taken aside right away, and he got a good talking to for minutes. He was all I could look at was that dude he might have been the same guy that was on his phone, because I remember there was a dude that was in the middle and he got taken and he got taken away, and he didn't get roughed up, but he got a whole bunch of fingers to the face, like, you stay out of these shots. So I thought that was great.
So Snow hit a moonsault on Bossman through a table as they continue to fight through the bar. This one patron hands Al Snow a chain, and he hits Bossman over with as well. Like, where'd this guy? Why is this guy just carrying a chain around? I guess he's part of John Cena's chain gang before it was a thing.
Hey, you go to a bar in Minnesota, you gotta come packing.
I guess so. So Bossman goes to push Road Dogg away, but Road Dogg sneakily picked up Bossman's nightstick whenever he was going through the curtain. And if you watch this match back, you can see Road Dogg pick up that nightstick before he goes back through the curtain. He hits Bossman over the back with it. Al Snow smashes Bossman's balls with pool balls, and Al Snow retains he gains his hardcore title. And Snow immediately hurries up to the back to go get Pepper when the BWO is messing with him. I don't know if they're trying to electrocute him or what, and Al beats them all to a bloody pulp.
Yeah, the balls to the balls thing was, like, I guess clever but weird. What a finish. It was certainly better than pinning a man while he's sitting up. So I'll take that.
He was actually laying flat on his back this time.
Right. So Dave said, quote, they stationed a fake crippled guy backstage with 2 crutches, and before the match was over, had both crutches from him taken and used as weapons, end quote. I laughed at that. And after the match, it appeared Stevie Richards and Blue Meanie were trying to kidnap Pepper, except I guess they were afraid of the heat from animal cruelty groups, and the announcer specifically said they weren't trying to kidnap Pepper. Snow beat them both up for apparently no reason then, with a crutch, 2.25 stars.
Oh my.
Thank God, there you go.
Thank God it was over.
Yeah, you gotta get the animal heat off you. And you're right. Thank God it was over.
Backstage, Jesse is with Mankind going over the rules of the match. Again, that the best wrestler will win, and it's going to happen in the middle of the ring.
It's in the middle of the ring. And I just imagine him be like, it's in the middle of the ring, or get the out of here. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I just kept thinking over and over again of him just give this rotten profanity-laced thing about it. It's just so good, dude. He just keeps repeating it over and over. And then he drops a, she's a bleeding heart liberal line, and I freaking died at that.
I exploded. I could not believe. I don't know where did Mankind come out with that question out of just.
They worked it out. They absolutely worked it out because I don't know, anything about Mick Foley's leanings, but the way Jesse said that, you knew he was sitting on it. He was waiting for it. So he had Mick tee him up, and then he just knocked it out of the park.
So we are here at the worst match of the night. It's Ivory versus Tori for the women's championship. And what an absolute disaster. Ivory was trying so hard to get Tori to work, but my God, Tori is awful. Post-match, Ivory tried to rip off Tori's top, but Luna, of all people, I was not expecting to see her. She returns and she stops Ivory. And we talked about Luna a while back because she threatened Sable. So I guess now Sable's gone for good. You're welcome back here.
Yeah, and Dave said just as much, that, here's Luna, and it's because Sable's not there anymore. And she was basically fired for threatening Sable in the first place. So there you go. But I didn't write one word about this while I watched it. It all happened and I had nothing to say. But if you told me that Luna came back in August of 1999, I just called you a plumb liar. I said, you ain't telling the truth, brother. And there I am. I'm wrong. Dave gave it -2 stars.
So The Rock is backstage with Michael Cole. The Rock takes the mic from Cole and he says he sees how Cole looks at The Rock and asks if he's a cum si cum sa, and then runs down Billy Gunn ahead of their Kiss My Ass match tonight.
Add another thing to things he couldn't do today.
Absolutely could never do that today. So our next match is the Lion's Den Weapons match. It is Shamrock versus Steve Blackman. No pinfalls, no submissions. Whoever escapes the cage is the winner. And Blackman got to choose all of the weapons that are around ringside here, or whatever you can call it, den side, I guess we can call it here.
Right.
But Blackman starts the match with nunchucks, and he hammers the absolute hell out of Shamrock's ankle.
I had Blackman and Shamrock each demonstrating nunchuck proficiency was my favorite non-Jesse related thing on the show so far. When both of them picked up chucks and went full Michelangelo, I was like, okay, I can get down with this.
So Shamrock was able to wrestle Blackman to the ground. He grabs a kendo stick, but Blackman blocks the attack and then grabs, I don't know what you want to call, I don't know, what are these sticks called? They're just like, it looks like a broken pool stick.
I don't know. I feel like in a past life I didn't know what these martial arts weapons were, but
I'm going to call them whipping sticks.
Yeah, whipping sticks works.
So he starts whipping Shamrock's ass with these things. Blackman goes to exit the cage through the door, but the ref wouldn't allow him to do it. And commentary tried to cover it up here, but it looked like Blackman just forgot how to like exit the cage, like go through the top. And I'm not sure what happened here. But Shamrock stood up, hits his finisher on Blackman, lays him out with a kendo stick. The bell rings, and Shamrock then climbs out to the top of the cage and wins. So they just called the end of the match whenever Shamrock was just standing there staring at the lights.
Yeah, I don't know what that was, and I can't tell you. Dave said after the Bossman match, the weapons aspect didn't have the impact, and this was too long with such a confining gimmick. And I couldn't agree more, man. When they went from that forever outside in the bar backstage segment straight to a match next to the ring, or not next to the ring, like almost backstage again, I was just like, eye roll, man. Like, what are you doing? Who's laying this out? Dave gave it a 1.25 stars, and I think he was being kind. The bad thing is, it's not like it was bad. It was bad.
The one thing that was weird about this too is like exactly what you said about how they just had the fight out in the parking lot, and then they come back in and do this Lion's Den match, which is right by the stage. That was super hard to see. It's not like it was up on a platform or anything, but if you were in the building for that, I can't imagine how pissed off you were, because you didn't see a match in the ring. You saw a match on the TV screen, which they didn't have big video screens like they do now. And then on top of that, then you get this in this tiny ass Lion's Den. Like, yeah, I would have been pissed off if I saw back-to-back matches on a pay-per-view that I couldn't even see in the ring.
I was furious at night one of WrestleMania when The Rock is brawling outside with Roman and Seth and Cody, because it's dots in the crowd with a spotlight. So yeah, you're right. Like that's a even better point than what I had, because it's not like everybody had a bird's eye view of down in the cage.
Right. But thankfully, it seems like we're pulling the nose up here a little bit, because we head into this Shane and Test match, and this match determines whether or not Test and Steph can stay together. If Test wins, Shane has to leave them alone. If Test loses, they have to break up. And before this match starts, the posse comes out and sits ringside. They got the hula shirts on. They got all they're showing all their wounds from Test from the weeks prior that he's been doing to them on Raw. It was a sight.
Them showing up in all kinds of casts. It was my favorite thing ever. There's casts everywhere. And then I looked, and the one thing I wrote down here, how Wardlow is Joey Abs?
Oh my God. He's so Joey Abs.
Yeah. Yeah, old Wardlow stealing the gimmick of Joey Abs.
My favorite thing about them sitting ringside was that they had a couch with a lamp, and then they just had champagne bottles sitting there too.
Absolutely. They're my favorite thing from 1999. They are my favorite thing because exactly a couch, not like a nice couch, just a couch. And they have champagne being served to them in the middle of a street fight to determine Shane's little sister's love life.
Yep.
Can't beat it, dude. Can't beat it.
So Test and Shane, they go all over the ringside area. Test did a power slam on Shane, and then military presses him into the posse, and the posse then gets a hold of Test, and they start beating him down.
As they should.
They give Shane a mailbox and a photo of the posse. He hits Test over the head with both of them.
That was great too, dude.
Oh, yeah.
A photo of the whole crew.
Yeah. Just exploding.
Absolutely loved it, man.
But then back into the ring, Shane goes for a corkscrew moonsault here, but he missed. And then Test hits a pop-up power slam on Shane, but the posse's distracting the ref during the pin.
Lawler had a line around the spot that said, Steph, wouldn't you rather go on vacation in Martha's Vineyard than Six Flags? And I freaking died because we're still trying to get Steph hooked up with Joey Abs or whatever. Yeah, dude, when he said Test would take her to Six Flags, oh, good one on you, King.
So Test big boots the ref as Shane got out of the way, and the posse beats down Test on the outside. Shane hits the elbow from the top rope to the Spanish announce table for the first time with his Daredevil signature move, which I thought was really cool.
That was awesome.
Also, on that big boot, if you watch that back, I don't know if it's Kyoto or not, but he bangs his head off of that bottom rope, like whiplashes himself up. It looked pretty nasty. But of all people here, the Stooges, Briscoe and Patterson, come down and take out the posse. Test hits the pump handle slam and wins. Steph and Test get to stay together.
Patterson putting his entire body into hitting them with that sign was just so good. This was my favorite thing on the show. When I saw it live at that point, I thought that it was the best thing I saw so far. And watching the whole show, this was my favorite thing on the whole show. And then when I went to the Observer and saw that this won match of the night, I was proud of everybody else that watched it. Yeah. Because at this point in time, no one likes Shane, especially the internet nerds and the smarks and everything. They really hate Shane. And this was great. Shane was perfect, dude. He worked really hard. His stuff looked fine. Test was great. Shane bumped everywhere for Test. The way that the posse sold was great. And then to have the Stooges come out for the babyface save was just the cherry on top. This was awesome. Dave gave it 3.5, and I didn't think that it was enough, man. Seriously, to me, this was a true 4-star match, maybe even better. I thought this was awesome.
I knew as soon as Briscoe and Patterson showed up, you wanted to give this thing 18 stars because you love the Stooges so much. And
I love the Stooges. And there was so much posse, and there was so much good posse.
Yeah.
This wasn't just like bloodline, here we go, beat down. We've seen the same thing. The posse are such goofs, and they play it right. That's what I loved about the posse, man, is that they were nerds, and they tried to get heat, and they just got nerded. And I thought that this was excellent.
So lock in here because it's only getting crazier, folks. We have the Big Show and Undertaker versus Kane and XPac for the tag titles. And the first thing that I have written here is that Kane is in new gear. He's got the inverted color scheme, and it looked amazing. Show and Taker target Pac early on the outside, and Taker goes for the choke slam. And this was my favorite spot of the night, is whenever Undertaker is holding X-Pac up in the air, and then Kane reaches over the top rope to save and pick up Pac and bring him back into the ring. That spot of the night for me. I loved that.
When this goes on, really weird, because then they get heat on Kane for what feels like a really long time. I know it's only like 2 minutes, but it feels like a long time. And then after all that, dude, 180-pound Pac is standing out there waiting for the hot tag. Yeah. And I'm thinking, you think this guy's going to save you?
Yeah.
Spoiler alert, he doesn't.
I agree. That was a little strange as well. But the crowd was popping for Taker and Kane in this match. Taker posts Pac on the outside, Show follows that up with a bear hug in the ring. Like, nothing I hate more in 1999 is Bradshaw, Hardcore Holly, and a fucking bear hug by Big Show. I can't handle. If I could eradicate all three of those things from my memory, I would do it in a heartbeat.
Especially when JR's trying to put it over as like a devastating bear hug, and all I could do is look and be like, "Oh, Show's tired."
Yeah. That's such a good point.
Show's catching a breath here.
XPac low blows Show and Taker, and he tags in Kane for the hot tag. Kane ends up getting choked on the ropes by Taker from the outside, but Pac hit the Bronco Buster on Show. Big Show no-sold it, choke slams Pac, sets up for this step pin that looks like dog shit, and Taker lost his mind.
Yeah, and in the middle of all of that, when they finally did get that hot tag to X-Pac and he got absolutely murdered, I laughed out loud at that because I'm watching, I'm thinking like, you're going to hot tag X-Pac. And they did, and they killed him so dead. And then it went back to the way it should, which set up Kane coming in, which set up all those spots that you just went through. But this was just, X-Pac is such a good worker, brother. But like, man, the layout of this for the babyface team was very strange.
Yeah, it was. But Taker tags himself in, he tombstones Pac, and we have new tag champions with Undertaker and Big Show, and Taker is so annoyed at his tag partner over his antics.
Yeah, and my favorite part of this was while the Show was giving the chokeslam signal to Kane, like it's going to come, there was a dude in the front row holding the chokeslam pose. And I felt like that dude was just manifesting all of the right energy, dude. Because oh my, what a scene. Show goes, and there's a guy there going right with him. I love that.
Would have been you.
It would have been. Absolutely. In that spot, yes, you are correct. Dave gave it 2.5. They couldn't lose. I'm glad that they won because they should have won. But man, you could just see that the Big Show thing isn't it.
No, it's the shits. It's not.
Yeah.
And they don't know what to do with him other than just to put him with Undertaker and hope Undertaker sprinkles the dust on him.
Well, and imagine putting somebody with Undertaker coming off of all of those insane ratings that you did with the ministry stuff, then off of the insane main event that he had with Austin, off of him still being attached to this main event program for this, and it's still not working. It's wild, dude. It is.
Yeah, you're right. So Ventura is backstage giving Austin the rules as Austin just blows him off and walks away. I thought that was really good too. But our next match is Rock versus Billy Gunn in the Kiss My Ass match. Billy comes to the ring with a robed person who he reveals as the ass that The Rock is going to kiss when he loses. And you can only imagine how insufferable King was during this match and this poor woman. And Jake ended up just joining in because he didn't know what else to do.
First thing that I have for this is, oh, for the love, this poor woman.
Yes.
Like seriously, like they walked out what at first I thought was Pigpen from Charlie Brown Halloween because it was just looked like a dirty ghost outfit. And then they unghosted her. And I was like, okay, so here's an overweight woman. And dude, they just buried her. And I was just thinking like, whatever you paid her, triple it and it isn't enough, man. Jesus.
Amen to that. Like, I get the first 2-3 times is fine, but they go on for the entire match.
Right. And the whole thing is, dude, is that like sight gag, whatever. But you don't need to bury her on commentary. That was the bad thing about it for me.
Yeah.
Not even to be too sensitive about it. Like, it's just like, it was literally too much, man. What are we doing?
We literally did it for like 15 minutes. Like, give us a break.
Right.
She's standing inches away from you. God. But the two fight up to the entranceway, and they eventually make it back to ringside where Billy hit the Rock with the ring bell. Billy is in full control here. He hit a great-looking neck breaker, a running bulldog, and the famouser. The woman ends up getting in the ring. She pulls her dress up to reveal her ass, and Billy goes to throw the Rock into it, but Rock counters, and he just plasters Billy's face right into her ass cheeks. The Rock hits the rock bottom, the people's elbow. The crowd went crazy for this, and The Rock is your winner.
The famouser spot in particular here was awesome. I really liked the wrestling in the final sequence.
Yeah,
like where it was Billy, and then there, they had the counter into the famous. I thought that stuff was all really good and actually made Billy look really good. And then, dude, with this finish, there's no coming back from this.
Nope.
This is an active decision, and we touched on all year weirdo stuff with Billy Gunn backstage because he's a problem, right? Again, this is just from reports, but problems with Billy backstage. And doesn't this just make you think that after he wins King of the Ring, that they second guessed it or whatever, or something reared its ugly head again? Because this is a dead burial. Like, you got embarrassed with the woman, and then you just got killed dead in the ring with clean moves, no messery, no weaponry, nothing like that. Like, it's over for you, Billy Gunn.
Well, the writing was on the wall for him too, especially with that Rock promo that we talked about last week on the show. Whenever is it Billy? It doesn't matter what your name is. Like, they absolutely killed him dead weeks before this even happened.
Yeah. Dave gave it 2 3/4. The work wasn't bad. It wasn't. I was shocked at how into the finish sequence I was, and how, oh my God, he's dead I was when it was done. Again, one of those things where I knew what happened, but then I watched it then, and seeing it now, I was gobsmacked at the burial there.
Yes, literally buried him 6 feet under. But we're here at our main event. It is Mankind versus Triple H versus Stone Cold for the WWF title, with your special guest referee, the Governor, Jesse Ventura.
This intro video.
Oh.
And not only did they do an excellent job running through the entire story that got us here, with China being the number one contender and then keeping it, and then enter Mick and all that. When they went to Linda McMahon decreeing the triple threat, I wrote, is Linda Mark Zuckerberg's true mother? Because they literally are both just silicone bodies with computer chips inside of them, I feel like.
Go check out her on the DNC a couple weeks back that we put here on the podcast.
Right. We have Linda Lannister and we have Mark McMahon.
Yeah. And Stacy Keibler telling you about how you should vote in 2004. All in a segment. We're followed up, and that literally followed Kamala being seduced by the Diva Surge.
On a pro wrestling show. All of this.
But for this main event, as a huge Triple H fan, and this feels like the big crowning moment for him. And we get all those entrances from the back with the boom, 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 like music. And it had huge fight feel written all over it. The crowd was so into this. I encourage everyone to go watch this back, because this is an awesome main event. The one thing that I noticed right away is that it looked like Mankind was literally walking so gingerly. And like, we talked about this at the Fully Loaded show, that he had both of his knees just freshly repaired like a few weeks before this show.
And the crazy thing is, in 2004, this literally our other timeline, he still has knee surgeries that he's trying to get repaired.
I know.
Like, this poor fella, man. But I'll tell you 1 second before we move on. Is there a better Triple H than metal sheath, ring outfit, my time Triple H? Because I think the answer is no.
The answer is no, because it is awesome. And I have that literally downstairs on the shelf.
Yeah, that was, my God, was that such a good, that entrance attire, man, is just A1.
Oh, so good. Jesse rings the bell as soon as Austin hits the ring, and it was on. All three men were fighting up the entrance ramp, but Jesse was hell-bent on keeping Law and Order, and he was trying to keep Chyna out of the match. She tries to interfere with Mankind while Triple H destroys Austin's leg with a chair. And then Jesse, realizing something happened, he questions the crowd. You got to ask the questions. And he asked the crowd, did he hit him with the chair? And Triple H is like, no, no. And the crowd's like, yeah. Like that was such an awesome moment.
Yes, Jesse, dude, he's a pro. He showed it there, man. That's how you work, brother.
But Chyna couldn't help herself. She posts Mankind. Jesse saw it and he sent her ass to the back, and Hunter contests Jesse's decision. Austin runs up the entranceway while Hunter is complaining and takes him out. Hunter and Austin then fight back to the ring where Triple H wraps Austin's leg around the ring post. Hunter and Mankind then start stomping a mud hole in Austin, and they end up turning on each other. Mankind tries to hit the senton on Hunter from the apron to the floor, but Hunter got out of the way. Mankind literally ate all of this. My God, was that a brutal spot.
Yeah, right onto the floor, dude.
Oh, poor fella.
Dude, this is so good, though, because when he gave Chyna the heave-ho, like, that was one of the things that we were obviously building for. And, dude, did he eat it up, and so did the crowd, and so did I. I feel like I was emitting light at that time. Do you know what I'm saying? Like I had become one with the universe there. And dude, when he let them brawl outside while just standing in the ring, and I'm thinking to myself, this man went to each of them and said, do what you must. The pin happens in the ring.
Yep.
And he won't go out there to say, get back in here or whatever. He ain't moving. This is where the pins happen, and buddies. So come in here and I loved it. I thought that was a really cool, subtle layer. And I think they did bring it up later on after they were brawling for a while. But I thought that was excellent.
Yeah, you're right. It was. He was a very smart referee, which is really hard to see, especially in WWF in 1999.
Especially with the guest referee.
Right. Thank you. So Austin hits the stunner on Mankind, but Hunter breaks up the pin by hitting Austin over the head with a chair. Jesse intervenes, but Hunter hits Mankind with the chair, pins Mankind, and Jesse refuses to count. That was amazing. It was so good.
Dude, he hit a Tranquilo pose in the corner.
Yes.
It was incredible. It was incredible. The crowd is eating out of his hands. And the thing is that this was all done, and I didn't feel like it was just to get Jesse over. I felt like it was literally to help Triple H is trying to do anything to win, and Jesse just stayed to his word. Do you know what I mean? It wasn't anything other than what he said. And the fact that they were in Minnesota, man, the setup of this, his movements and his it was excellent. So good.
Oh, so good. But Shane runs in and he yells at Jesse, but Austin stunners Shane, and we get this incredible moment by Jesse. He picks Shane up, throws him out of the ring, and as he's throwing Shane out of the ring, he yells, "That was for your old man, you bastard."
Yeah.
But that's not the best part of what happens here. The best part is that Austin goes to yell at Shane on the outside, falls over the rope, and gets himself tangled, and he's up there just bobbing. You can see his feet dangling. Jesse was a true pro here because he took all the heat away from Austin and was trying to keep it on himself in hopes that Austin would get himself untangled. But Austin's like yelling at Trips to come help, and I get my ass out of here.
I had to rewind this because the announcers tried to cover and be like, Triple H is here tangled up with Austin. I'm like, how? Yeah. And then I went and I was like, oh, that's how.
Yep. How about Jesse being the ultimate good brother there and covering for Austin because he knew that Austin was totally screwed.
He gets it, man. And that's the thing is that he gets it. And the best part is he gets it after not actually working himself since I was like SummerSlam, like 89 or something, the last time that he was in a ring. So this was very good.
Austin hits a stunner on Triple H, but the count is broken up by Mankind. Triple H hits the pedigree, but Mankind runs in and hits Hunter before the pin can be made. Mankind picks Austin up, hits him with the double arm DDT, and Mankind is your new WWF champion. Awesome main event, big swerve finish, and I'm sure that we'll talk about what happens afterwards on the SmackDown debut show, but this was not what I was expecting, and neither was the crowd.
Yeah, and that's the thing, is that it was a babyface win that the crowd was so not ready for that they almost didn't react.
Yeah.
And it's not like it didn't get over. It's just like it was what?
Oh, yeah.
Holy. Yeah. It was something. So Dave said after the post-match with the beatdown on Austin, which Triple H just, gave him everything it was worth with chairs to the knees and everything. There was a lot of serious old-time heat for the post-match. He gave the match 2 3/4. I would have said that to me, this was an easy 3.5. I very much enjoyed this. But Dave said Mankind wound up as WWF champion coming out of the main event, a decision apparently made a few days before the match because of internal reports that took it as a given. It was the plan going in, but nothing in wrestling as far as finishes are a given until they happen. That Helmsley was winning the title, beating Mankind, and blaming Austin for not doing the job in a situation that he may have never refused to do the job in the first place. So basically the problem here was Foley was there to eat the pin because Austin didn't want to do the job to Hunter at this point in time. Yep. And Dave said that they swerved him because too many people were smartened up, or so they thought, which harkens back to that King of the Ring 99 when they put out that fake. Well, they said it was the fake video cover, but it might not have been a fake video cover because, right, that's the way that it goes. There was also a lot of talk within wrestling in the days leading up to the show about Shawn Michaels, who of all people should talk about people who don't do clean jobs to lose titles, getting in Helmsley's ear and Austin refusing to do the job. At the end of the week, the decision was made for Austin to do the job for Mankind for a double surprise of the expected finish and give the title to Helmsley for his run the next night in Raw in Ames, Iowa, which is how it all went down.
What a SummerSlam review, and I cannot wait. We're coming back next week. This was a shortened version that we typically don't give you here on the Podski. We didn't give you any news or nuggets. We're giving you all of those next week on the debut SmackDown. I cannot wait to talk about that show because I can't tell you how many times I've watched that debut of SmackDown. So the main event of that first debut SmackDown is The Rock versus Triple H for the WWF title. We will tell you how they got there and how Triple H is your WWF champion, as we just alluded to here. We'll cover all that next week. We'll get you all caught up on everything that happened with SummerSlam, and I'm super excited. We got to thank Teddy here because he brought the heat on this one. And we have the Scott Hall bonus episode coming up here. It is in the works, people.
I can't wait for this one, man. John's going to watch 3 matches that defined my wrestling childhood, one of which was my favorite match of all time until I saw Mr. Omega in the Tokyo Dome. So I can't wait for John to tell me how 2-star it was.
I cannot wait to watch them, but please, if you listen to the show today, make sure you drop a like and subscribe on the channel. It's the best way to support the channel. Let us know in the comments what you thought of SummerSlam 99 and what was your favorite match, because personally, I like the main event, but that Test and Shane match was incredible, as we talked about here today too. So let us know in the comments what you think, and we will see you next time on the Podski.